We are live. All right. Welcome back, everyone. We had some technical issues earlier, so thank you so much for sticking around if you are sticking around. Welcome to Homeschool Hustle. I have been wanting to start this for a while now. Thank you, Nate, for joining us for this first official launch interview.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Homeschool Hustle, everyone, real quick. This is about entrepreneurs who are hustling and parenting in the pandemic. So, I think we have very interesting situations where a lot of us, depending on our businesses, already have been working from home. And so that's not new to us in this time of pandemic, but having the kids home all day probably is new.
Right.
And then, yeah, just all the things in between, like how have our businesses been affected? And now that school is starting back up in the fall and it's going to be all from home still, like what are we doing to prepare for that? So these are the conversations I think that are important for us to have as a community. And yeah, we're going to get into it now with Nate. So, Nate, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your business
Okay.
first, and then I want to hear about your home life, like how many kids do you have and all that. So, first question is,
Okay.
yeah, tell us more about your business.
Okay. Cool. Well, thanks for having me here. This is something I've been talking to people individually about. So this platform and this topic, I think, is really timely. Everyone's dealing with it in some way or another, right? So, anyway, I have two businesses. My first business is Skool. I started that from my home many years ago in 2003 when my son was born. And I also have Nate1 Design, which is my art mural commission kind of thing. They go hand in hand, but yeah, so that's what I do for a living. And I have two kids, two young adults. My son, who I just said I started Skool when he was born, 17. His birthday was on Monday. He's going to be a senior
Yay.
this coming school year. He'll be a homeschool senior. And my daughter's a freshman. Or she's going to be a freshman. So that's two big years for them. She's beginning high school and he's ending high school. So that's like big milestones for us as parents too.
Hmm.
I'm not going to cry.
I know. Hopefully he'll get a graduation that's not a drive-through graduation.
you know,
That's what we
unfortunately,
had.
you know,
Yeah.
unfortunately, my daughter, they just her eighth grade graduation, they pretty much just gave up. I mean, it just got postponed, postponed,
Mhm.
postponed. Now they don't even really care anymore. They're like, we're on to high school. So
Yeah, right.
yeah.
So, um, just for folks that don't know, I have four kids, but one is off to college now, and I have a 7-year-old and 6-year-old twins, all boys. So that's my situation with parenting.
God bless you.
Um, yeah, thanks.
Oh,
Pregnant 2 years in a row.
man.
um, but and I have and PapaLoDown agency is a PR agency, so we work with folks on amplifying their stories in the media. Um, just background on me in case anyone doesn't know yet. So let's move into some other topics here, Nate. How has your business changed since the pandemic hit, which is
Oh
like
my God.
almost 5 months?
Yeah, that was a quick 5 months of transforming um, and adapting. So I'll tell you a little jokey joke. So my friend and I were discussing this whole new business life that we have. He's a small business owner too, and I started saying that everyone's got to transform right now. You have to adapt And he laughed at me and he goes, adapt? You mean adapt means like do everything your damn self now? Like there is no help, and I think all of us small business owners have learned to do more with less. That's like a big one I'm learning right now. So, but it's true, like you can't have, well, at least my business, I can't have employees around helping me ship orders and pack orders, even if I wanted to, so not too much change for me though. I've always worked at home. I had an office for 5 years, and I luckily closed my office in August. We moved into a new home, and then I moved my office and my studio here. So just when I'm settled in and I'm thinking everything's going like this can be my best year ever, boom, totally got hit with all of this. And so honestly, the biggest change for my business is that all the accounts that I work with, all these small boutiques and shops, they had to close. But
Mhm.
we were kind of like closing, stopping, going until it just stopped, and before that was my mainstream of one of my main streams of income is selling them my stuff wholesale. So that stopped. So what did I do? It all went online, everything.
Yeah. And you already had your online store set up, so that wasn't too crazy. It's just more like ramping it up on that end.
Talk about blessings, and like talk about like putting in the work before the thing hits. It's like I tell my kids these things, it's like if I didn't have my website set up, if I didn't have my Etsy kind of set up, I
Mhm.
wouldn't be able to transition into this new everything online business world.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, I had it set up, but I still had tons of work to do in terms of sprucing it up, making it like
Yeah.
one of my main business focuses.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what about your art career in terms of, murals and commissions? Has that
Uh,
been affected?
well, I would say that I'm having a pretty busy art season this year,
Hmm.
like in terms of commissions and people buying art even. It's not happening through galleries though, right?
Right.
They're closed. Some galleries are able to sell online, and I'm actually working with Secession in San Francisco. We're going to do an online fundraiser for her store, and I'm donating a painting to that. But I know she's sold art through her website, which is pretty amazing. For me, I haven't done so much of that. It's more marketing my artwork on Instagram,
Hmm.
Facebook, and my website, and then people seeing it and then inquiring and then starting the conversation. That's a big part of my job, is having these conversations with people like, how can my art help you? Tell me more. Like what kind of painting do you need? Or those sort of things. So I feel really blessed, and that's why I work so hard, is that I have all these things kind of set up for me to succeed. I just have to continue putting in the work, the work for my website, the work marketing.
And that's not new either.
No, now
So,
it's
I mean,
like
that's just part
it
of the
just,
hustle. That's just, you got to keep doing that.
exactly. Yeah, you have to know that. And if you didn't know that before, you know that now, because now it's kind of like, yeah, this pandemic is terrible, right? But in a sense, for the business world, I feel that all these companies, all these small, just got a big slap in the face with reality in what do you really need to succeed? What do you really need to do to accomplish your business goals? And I think it's just a typical trait for companies to be oversized, to be
Mhm.
fluff, just fluffity fluff, too much fluff, and um and I see it. I see companies downsizing, like when there's recession or business is a little iffy. I see them downsizing and making adjustments to their company size, and now more than ever I'm seeing that, right?
Mhm.
I'm seeing that with my friends' corporate jobs, like what's going on with their corporate life. That's happening. But I see the same exact thing happening with us small businesses. And I think we reacted to it faster, obviously, than bigger companies. So immediately, I have one person that I employ part time. And at the beginning of this, I knew that my need, even though her work with me is for social media, even though it's remote, I knew I wouldn't have the funds to pay her as much, at least
Mhm.
at the beginning. So I had to cut her hours almost by 3/4.
Mhm.
But I knew though that marketing would still be important and still be super necessary and not to cut it out. And it's the best decision I ever made in terms of spending money this year. It's not
Yeah.
to spend money on inventory and all that junk. It's like I have enough inventory. Now it's time to broadcast what I have and what I'm trying to. So yeah, that was a big one. And thank God for her. She really helps organize that side of my marketing. I'm someone that loves to do stuff all by myself sometimes, and I've learned from you. I need help. Like you can't do everything. You got to delegate. So that's the main person I have helping me is someone with social media. But
That's
I'm doing more of it too, though. Like I'm doing all the photography instead of her. Like I had to take on more of the task to keep the cost lower.
right. Yeah, I mean, that's always a battle. And you've also what we're seeing through this pandemic, there's a whole new product category that has
Oh,
entered the market. Masks, face coverings, right? So you quickly got your mask collection up and going. Um,
I'm living the dream.
I know. Can you show us? And by the way, I am wearing a custom new school
Woo!
Nate1 design hat.
What?
You can see it.
Daily City?
Repping
Let me see.
Daily City. This was
I
a
knew
gift
we
my husband
wouldn't
gave me for Mother's Day.
I knew we wouldn't get through this without shouting out Daily City at
We
least
had to.
once.
And I have my Daily City hoodie, which that was a that was a collab project on the under. I'm like, Nate, can you make a Daily City hoodie?
Collab, whatever. Nate, make this. You
Nate,
gotta make
you,
this. But isn't that fun? That's what your good friends do for you. They give you good ideas and then they don't ask for royalties.
yeah, and it was totally because I wanted to wear a Daily City hoodie.
Yes.
So
So I am from
very selfish reasons, but I do think Daily City needs to be repped harder. So I'm repping.
I
Anyways, let's
believe
see your masks, Nate. Sorry.
I don't have a Daily City mask, sorry. But
Yet.
okay, so the whole mask thing, let me tell you about that really quick. It At the very beginning of this, no one really knew how serious to take this. So I jokingly mocked up an N94 mask with my graphics on it and sent it to a friend. I was like, haha, look at this. 1 month later, I was literally
Oh,
screen printing like it became that serious in like a month. So so my business, New School, I do a lot of screen printed graphics that represent the Bay Area using like local icons. So it only made sense to put those graphics onto masks. So here is my Sutro mask. I'll show it to you, right? So it's the kind of mask with the loops. So you could just
mhm,
put it on like that. Mask. So
nice.
this whole mask game, I've learned so much about it. There's so much different different styles of masks, different kind of customers for masks,
Mm.
different. Yeah, it's like just like it's so much more of a complicated product than even a t-shirt. And t-shirts, you
Oh,
might just think, oh, a t-shirt, but people are picky about their shirts. Now, can you imagine putting something on your face? Like people are really, really picky. Um, but as a business, it is very similar to me creating my t-shirts. I'm not cutting and sewing masks like some designers are, and those ones are, more involved production wise. I'm not that person. I'm more of a graphic designer. So I have them screen printed. I package them in these little plastic envelopes, which I had for my greeting cards already. So I was kind of like, there's a double use for that inventory of packaging. And then I had to learn what is the proper text, what's the proper safety,
Mm,
you know, issues, instructions you have to give with people. So I found this, you know, this text. And so I put this on a card, and then I put my, um, all my contact on it. So whenever people get this, it has this inside it. So
nice
it's
touch.
it's kind of a way for them to go, oh, you know, like he does all this stuff too, you know. So, and I've got a lot of new customers that never heard of New School that are from San Francisco because of the mask. So they'll come there, they'll go shop the mask, and then they'll go like, oh, I need a baby shower gift, you know, like he does that too. So
Yeah,
can I tell you what really blew it up marketing wise though?
sure. Please do.
Because I would never have expected this, right? So I'm big on social media and posting to Instagram, Facebook, and all that. And also I learned from you that the newsletter. Let me
Yes.
tell you, people, if you need help, you need to listen to Paloma. She bugged me about this freaking newsletter, and now it's like a really good tool for me to use that I'm paying for. That now I'm using it. Anyway, but so I use all those, but one person told me, why don't you post your mask to next door? And I'm like, what's next door? Then
Oh,
someone else was like, why don't you post it to next door? And I'm like, it sounds like a bunch of gossipy neighbors. And then finally, and then my sister told me, why don't you post to next door? So after 3 people told me, that's when I start to really go, okay, maybe there's something to do with this thing. So I signed up for a Nextdoor account, posted it at 2 in the morning, just like as I'm going to sleep. I posted my mask. I said, "Hi neighbors, check this out. This is what I've just created with my new school line. If blah blah blah." In the morning time at like 7 a.m., these like old neighbors, like they wake up and they're like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And then they're like, "I love these masks. These are great." And then it
wow.
just it just became like viral for next door. Like
Wow.
so many people were hitting it up, and so it's nothing for free. So you have to engage with them and be like, "Oh, thank you, neighbor.
Yeah.
Here's the link for it. Go." And that first day, I don't know. Let's say I got 20 orders for masks. In one day, for me, selling 20 shirts would be, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Cream on top of my wholesale. But dude, I think day 2, because it was like the top story in Nextdoor,
Oh, it blew up. Wow, Nate, that's a
I might
great
have got
story.
100 orders.
What?
Paloma, in a day. I was bugging. My phone gives me like a little, message like, "Hey, Squarespace, something happened." And
Yeah.
it just was like, I was like, wait, I was like, fling, Squarespace. I was like, it's like I won a jackpot on a slot machine. So that happened, and
Oh my gosh,
so
so cool.
that was really cool. So then from there I expanded the offerings. Like I had more graphics and a couple more
Yeah.
colors, and I did exactly what I would do with my t-shirts.
Yeah. Okay, I want you to show your screen print face masks, and I don't know, Ruby, if you have that. No, okay, it's okay. No, the one with like, do you have any of the not the screen
Oh, the
print,
airbrush
the
ones.
airbrush? I'm sorry, the airbrush.
Okay, so really
People's
quick.
faces.
Well, I don't have the ones with the faces right now, but
Oh, okay.
back in the early 90s, I used to have an airbrush store, kind of like how I'm airbrushed your hat, right? So I did a lot of airbrushing, and it's funny, in December I was doing my little notes for the year, like what do I want to incorporate into New School this year, and one of the notes was airbrushing. But little did I know I'd be airbrushing masks. But these have become really popular on my website. This one, it's like the Skyline SF.
Yeah, I like
You
that.
notice the tallest building there?
It's not the Salesforce tower.
I'm so juvenile. I never paint. I paint the Skyline so many times a year, and I just ignore it.
Yeah,
It's always the Transamerica building.
good. Keep it old school.
That's me. Anyway, so yeah, so not only did I do screen printed masks, I started doing airbrush masks. I even started doing some custom like requests where I'd do like the lower half of someone's face on the mask.
Yeah.
Those were fun.
No,
So,
those are the best.
but and those are just like, as a business owner, you need to do little things to keep people interested in what you're working on. And
Mhm.
those were perfect opportunities to like take these little freelance gigs or gifts, even for some friends, like Herbs. I just did that because he's such a crack up, and I knew he would post it all over the place and be funny with it, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Herb.
Shout out Herb.
Love that guy.
Awesome.
So yeah. So anyway, yeah, these little things are how I'm now creating content. I have to create all this content for my garage. So I'm even more on it, and I learned from my social media person, shout out Cha, that I learned how to really create a calendar and stick to it. Like the consistency with my social media on New School is better than it's ever been because now there's someone that's focused on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just mirrored her sort of strategy for Nate1 design. So it's getting a little better,
Mhm.
but then I have like the freedom to just like post a little bit more random stuff, you know, on my own in a sense. So.
Yeah. So speaking about schedule, let's get into
Ooh,
the
okay.
parenting part of this
Oh, I got you.
because okay, the business is doing well, sounds like. Shout out
Yeah.
mask. Shout out the mask hustle. Um, but yeah, so what does the schedule and the calendar look like with the kids at home and there? I mean, we've been in summer mode, but like, right when the pandemic hit, what was that like? And then even like, what are you guys planning to do this fall? I mean, the
Right.
schools are still kind of figuring it out. We don't know what their schedules are really going to look like in the fall. I'm like, can you let me know what time I can have my meetings?
Right.
I need to adjust my calendar.
Man, I totally hear you. And it's funny, like, as much as I work super hard and long hours, no matter what, my number one most important favorite job is being a parent, husband, part of a family. So I prioritize that and everything else comes after that, right? But
Mhm.
at the beginning of this, yeah, I knew, whoa, we're all going to be home together all the time. So I knew and I'm a pretty chill dad, but I still knew I have my moments, but I still knew I had to like temper my patience, my
Yeah.
mindfulness. Shout out my mom and dad. Mindfulness, God, they beat that into my head growing up. And I think it really helped, shape who I am today with how I treat other people,
Mm.
everything. So including my family, right? So I knew, okay, I'm gonna be the absorber for all the stress in the house. Like I kind of like, okay, if something's going down between daughter and mom, like let me try to smooth that out, or let me prepare daughter for something she's gonna, like let me try to keep the temperament of the house pretty even, right? And
Mhm.
so I started looking, and I'm doing this with my wife as well. We're talking about these things. So I think teamwork is super important when you're in a confined space. You really have to be on point with each other. But let me tell you, one of the biggest things is keeping the freaking house clean. If the house is clean, everything is gold, right? Like that's
Yeah.
the one thing that might set off my wife a little bit. If
Oh my
there's
God. I'm like your
right,
wife.
right.
Art knows. He's like, look, the house is clean. I'm like, yay, thank you. Yeah, if the
Shout
house
out
is a
Art.
mess.
Shout out Art, bro. How do you do it, dude? Okay, so, oh man, like that is so true. And it only took me being married 20 years to figure that out.
Oh my God.
Make the bed, like make it so the house is functional. But I realized also I can't do that on myself. My wife and I can't do that all of our and our kids are older. So it's
Yeah,
like,
put them to work.
shit, put them to work, right? So okay, so
Yay,
listen.
color coded chore list. What is that? Oh my God, you have a real schedule. That's more official than what we have at home.
This is real, okay? this is real. I knew at the beginning. Okay,
Oh
I'm gonna
my.
I'm gonna go on Illustrator. I'm gonna use my design skills. I'm gonna color code it. Mom orange, dad green, son blue, daughter yellow. Okay. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, this was my dream. This was just like the first pass. Like, let's see if they actually do it. So I tried to make it so we cook dinner together on Sunday. Look, it's all the colors together, right? And then like
Yeah.
Monday, I'll take care of cooking dinner. That didn't last very long. And then Tuesday, blah 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 blah. So I knew like there had to be a real schedule of cooking breakfast, cooking lunch, cooking dinner. That was like the main priority. If that's another thing, if
Food.
we
If
weren't
if no
stopped.
one will if no one's hangry, there'll be peace.
Amen. I just word up. Yes. So food is super important. Sleep, having a clean house. Like none of that. You have to have that all in order before I could go do my job.
Yes.
So, so they probably when I brought this list out, I had the family meeting. Oh man, they were like, what? Like cook dinner, do the dishes, vacuum, water the plants, your laundry day. Like I separate, like you have a laundry day. If you don't do your laundry on your day, you're gonna
Yeah.
have to wait. Clean the
Indeed.
bathroom, compost, take the recycle down, take the garbage out, move the cars, me. So, you
For
know,
cleaning.
and
Yes.
it kind of lasted. It kind of worked. Now, it's been 5 months.
Mhm.
So it's kind of automatic. Like
Right. Yes.
it's sort of
Makes sense.
automatic that they're helping out. Now, occasionally I'll be like, hey, whose dish day is it? And then
Mhm.
I'll hear from the bedroom, mine. And I'll be like, the stink is kind of piling up, and then they'll
Mhm.
they'll help out. So getting your family in order, I think, was the biggest first thing. And we need, I think that's something I realized at the beginning of this. And then, all good parents, I think, thought that way at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to keep us from going crazy? So
Yeah. The schedule is so important.
super important.
Super
And
important.
then not scheduling things when you kind of are busy, like kind of
Mhm.
dinner time, like after a certain time, like I'll chill from working and I'll try not to do too much emailing or texting. I'll try to just be on family mode. And my wife does definitely a majority of the cooking. So, but I'll try to stop and like do something like during that time, or I'll do that throughout the day, or you just figure out what works for your family. And we're lucky. We all have our own space at our place. My wife is working from the bedroom.
Mhm.
Kids are in their rooms and I'm in the garage doing either new school or doing my art stuff. So I'm really lucky now it's all in one space. And so I'm pretty happy with that. Like I can't complain. Like I could work as hard as I want whenever I want. So as long as, we're mindful about taking breaks and
Mhm.
caring for your family and taking care of yourself, I think that's something that you got to be really aware of during
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah. I also wanted to discuss with you, like, what values do you think your kids are learning having a parent that is an entrepreneur, that has their own business, that's their own boss, right? Like, now that they're home with you, they're really able to see it. And they've been helping you. I see you share, like, the kids are helping you with inventory or even video editing, right? Or your models. So they're really growing up in that. And
Yeah,
yeah, it'd be great to hear what you think. Like, what are they getting out of that, having a parent like you?
that's a trip. I actually took notes on this particular thing because I did learn a lot about working with my kids. So if anyone is at home and they have kids, any age kids, that you have a home business and you want their help, here's the biggest thing I learned about working with my children, and it's expectation.
Mm,
And this actually I learned from working with all the interns over the years with New School. I've had so many. It's
yeah.
crazy. One of my first interns just had a baby yesterday. Shout out, sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy, right? And yeah. So anyways, so I feel like, nothing, I always feel like life's cumulative. You learn, and then you kind of keep learning. And so I learned that from my interns, like, only give them things that you really taught them to do, And so I learned that hardcore with my kids, because I hate when I work with my son and daughter and lose my temper, or they're not doing things, or my expectations are like I'm really paying them, or like my expectations are like, I want you to be as fast as me. There's no one that's going to be as fast as me, right? But if I can just, so what I learned is like, to just like any good manager or boss, you have to look at their strengths and what they're good at, and
Mm.
even more importantly, because you're all home together, what they want to help me with. There's
Mhm.
no rule that they have to want to help package mass all day long, or for an hour even, So I have to ask them. I learned this one from my wife. I have to really respect their time and schedule it with them too. I can't just be like, hey, you're not doing anything but playing video games. Come help me count these stupid shirts. Like, I can't do that. I have to respect their time just as much as I want them to respect my time when I'm working with them, So all
That's
those
good.
sort of things. Yeah. And a big one for me is like letting go and really delegating, And so I try to give them tasks that they could either do upstairs in their rooms, or on a table here in the garage on their own. And I really don't have to be involved. If I could do that, then it's like I'm utilizing double time where they're doing something that I would normally be doing, even if they do it twice as slow as me, or sometimes they do it faster than me. Like, I
Mhm.
should be doing something else that they cannot do. And
Right.
that's really important to know, because then if I'm just sitting there managing them, I'm going to eventually become their dad, and then I'm going to be like, rah, 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 faster, quicker, no
Right.
water, no bathroom break,
No.
like. So I learned, oh, okay, my daughter, she's good at this, and her strengths are this, and she can do this on her own, And then I realized, whoa, my son, if I set him up with a certain project, like, he could actually take product shots, or he could do this one thing and be real faster than I am, So like, I do little things like that, and then and then the secret underlying sweetness to that, Paloma, is that I get to spend time with them.
Yeah.
And that's the part that this whole pandemic, I'm not mad at it. I get to
Yes.
be I get to be with them during this time, and when can a parent ever say that? Like, "Oh, I was like home with my kids for 6 months and I got to spend quality time with them and they didn't even know." Like,
Right.
so
Yeah.
that part of this I'm enjoying.
I agree. We've been and it's hard, like, yeah, we're snapping and like having our own tantrums as parents, right? But I think in the
Yeah,
grand scheme of things, it's like they're only small, and you have teenagers now, but they're only that age for a short amount of time.
yeah,
And this world forces us to just go, go, go. And they're
yep,
at school for all these hours, and you're supposed to work for 8 hours a day,
yeah.
or else you're not productive. And like, where is the time to like really develop relationships and have them learn from you and you learn from them? And
Totally.
we are getting that time now during this pandemic, and it is a blessing.
Yeah, I almost feel guilty, like, enjoying this new way
Mhm.
right now, even though I hope it's temporary, of course. But I mean, I'm an artist. I like to stay home and paint. I like to work on my business. I mean, I mean, I hate to say workaholic, because, it's a good thing I'm working, and I love my business, So I do spend a lot of time, like, I stay up late and I do that, but I love my life, That's why I work so hard, because I feel lucky that I could have a job that has some creativity involved in it, Like, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. And I have people that, collect my art and appreciate my artwork. And it used to be something that I just did for fun as a
Yeah.
kid, you know? So big up hip hop.
Yes. Yes. That's
Right?
what brought us together. We met through
Estria.
Estria and
Shout out
Estria
Estria.
Battle. back in
Yeah.
Montgomery Park with Life is Living.
Was it
Um,
2010 or before that?
2000, like 7, 8.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think I was a judge maybe at
Yes,
the
for the black, and then you helped with the Black Book Battle.
wow.
Yeah,
That
you
was
helped.
great. That was great. We can't even have stuff like that right now.
I know. But yeah, I mean, we've become friends since then, and it's been, yeah, a great journey to like be friends and go eat out together and talk about business. Like, I secretly probably want to have my own retail brand or a retail store one day, because that's
No,
why I'm always, Nate, you should do this. You should do
you
this.
don't do it. It's so much work. But but yeah, I mean, I'm at the point in my thing now where it's been about 17 years of running new schools. So it's like this, it's just like having your website up for a long time. It's like you have this vehicle to use, so I'm so lucky I can like just keep adding on and keep growing it and reinventing it. Like I posted the other day in response to your to this webinar, I was like, the only thing that's constant is change. And it's so true right now. Like if
Yeah, I
you
mean, the
you can't.
adversity, right? Like you have to go through, and we were talking about this earlier of like how when you started new school,
Oh, uh-huh.
right? You guys had just bought a house and then you got laid off. So like what is like the mental game of like if folks are really struggling right now in their businesses, like what advice can you give them in terms of like pushing through and getting to the other side?
Okay, we're about to get deep.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so listen, if you are a small business and you're in year one, but you're going to be celebrating year 10 and year 20 one day because it's not a side hustle, it's your real thing. I need you to focus in on your future self.
Mm.
You guys are like, what are you talking about? So first off, shout out KRS-One, who I learned this from, but you could really think ahead. Think of what your future self is going to be doing 10 years from now. And think and try to somehow summons that wisdom so that you could deal with the present day now. Now, 10 years ago, my life was a mess. We were and 17 years ago when I started new school, my life was a mess. Like for me, I had a corporate job. My corporate lifestyle was very like who and what I was used to. And then I got laid off the day we brought Sean home from the hospital. So
It's crazy.
that was pretty stressful, right? And then going through all that, hitting that recession like 7 or 8 years later, and then losing our house. So I'm really sharing with you guys right now.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
So no, it's all good, right? And I'm saying this for a reason. So I went through all that with my wife and young kids, but I went through all that and never lost faith in my brand and what I was doing and my family. And I just kept working really hard and started working harder and smarter, more efficiently. And now I look back on it and it made me super stronger, wiser with how I live my life and do my business and all that stuff. And now that we're in this pandemic and another crazy recession, I'm like, ha, I ain't scared of shit.
Yeah, right.
I've been through the fire. So now all the things that I was doing before in my younger self, and I was doing it like backpedaling and like, oh shit, and like putting fires out and just figuring out how am I going to get through this. Now I already know all that, right? I've been through some everything. The way I reacted to this was second nature. Like
Mhm.
like in a sense, all my stores that I sell my stuff to wholesale, them closing in a way. is like kind of like losing my job. If that's a big chunk of my income, or it's just like losing a freelance client,
Yeah.
right? Maybe you could relate to that. Maybe, like freelance clients, all of a sudden you needed them, now they don't, or whatever. And then you're like, whoa, it's like losing a chunk of your income. So how do you can't just sit there and dwell. You have to like reinvent yourself. You have to think, okay, well, what am I going to do now? And I did that 10 years ago. So, or whatever, 17 years ago. So that's what I would say. It's kind of like think you talk about needing to meditate in these times. Like you really need to think like what would a smarter self do in this situation? So beyond just learning from the past, like I'm thinking forward, like how do I see new school? Like that's one of your questions. Like how do I see what's next for new school? Like how am I gonna keep this train going? And and so this pandemic has like given me the time, like the peace of mind in a weird way to kind of sit there and focus in on my business and work more efficiently. Um, one of my notes says fewest moves. And that's just about being efficient. And
Mhm.
I take it so
More.
like, huh?
Less is more. I That's one of my favorites.
So true. It's so true. But like everything, every little facet to my business, even packaging these masks, I could do it in 4 moves.
Mhm.
Like I got the mask, I got the thing, I got the card, it's all set up. And it's just like so much faster than when before, I'd have stuff all over the place and, like time wasn't an issue as much,
Yeah,
and so that's a big thing is working efficiently
yeah.
because we're all doing more jobs now. I don't know one small business owner, or even if you work for another company, they have downsized. There's less people. That means you're going to have more work, and you
Mhm.
have to kind of smile and accept it. Whether you work for someone else or you work for yourself, you have to be like, okay, I'm going to have to do so much more now by myself. But do you want a job? Or do you want to keep your income going? It's like it's not the time to complain.
Right. Yep, we all have to show up and be resilient right now. So what with the fall, I mean, God, school's gonna start soon. Like, what are
Mhm.
you seeing that looking like? Is that gonna change your schedule for work, or like how are you guys gonna balance that out with the kids? And they can kind of do things on their own right now, at least, right? Like you have teenagers, they can read, they can
You
turn on
know,
the computer and like get on Zoom by themselves. So
first, first off, you think I can help my son who's going to be a senior with his homework?
I know. Right?
I look at his math and I'm like, damn, that's a crazy pattern. What's that? And he's like, it's a math problem. I'm like, so in that, my son is pretty self-sufficient. Now my daughter's starting, well, back to my son really quick. He is actually now in the process of like looking for colleges and he's in that mode. So he has to be in touch with doing that on his own, researching. There's so much out there to help you just get through a lot of these initial hurdles that when, we were applying for college, there wasn't these hubs that were just like right there for you. So he's dealing with that. And I just kind of have to monitor him and make sure, keep him on track. So he has, so just as much as we have, family calendar, he has like school calendar, like things besides just his homework that he needs to work on and get done. And we did that when he was in 8th grade, going to high school, and now we're doing that for high school, going to college. So, so that's my son. He's going to be pretty self-sufficient. Now my daughter's going to be a freshman. So in my mind, I'm like, I need to hold her hand a little bit more through all this. But they ended the year doing kind of Zoom classes, and
Right.
that was like the precursor to this going full blown out.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's gonna have to get used to that. She's gonna have to pay attention. And then as the parent, you have to make sure you kind of set classroom rules. Like, okay, dude, when you're on your class things, don't be having your phone next to you, doing all kinds of junk on this and that and TikTok and whatever the heck they're doing. Like there needs to be rules so that they pay attention. And
Yeah. Classroom rules.
you know,
Yep.
um, think
My kids
root
like to eat snacks while they're on Zoom and they're like eating. I'm
well,
like, oh
you
man.
know, hey, if it keeps them engaged, to sit there and they don't have to go off and get a snack, then I'm cool with that, just don't get all crumbs in the keyboard.
No,
But
that's what's happening. I'm like, man.
um so so like I said, my kids are older than yours. I'm sure your situation, like, how are you going to deal with is how
Um, I mean, yeah, both of us are home. I don't know. We were tag teaming. We have a schedule. I try to just block out my work day so that meetings only happen when I can be available, like
Mhm.
dictating around their schedules. So I don't know. I don't know what their school schedule is going to look like yet. So I'm still kind of unsure. I'm probably going to, because I have more flexibility with my work, and I think that's something that as entrepreneurs we do have is, we can pick our hours for the most part. So
Mhm.
I have more flexibility. So I will be taking on more of that work with the kids. We've
Mhm.
developed a morning circle time, which takes about an
Oh,
hour.
so cute.
Yeah. We read, we like have discussion, we do land acknowledgement, we
Mhm.
breathe, do some
Wow.
like meditation, yoga kind of stuff. Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's jam packed. And we started doing watching Reading Rainbow. I've been talking to you about Reading Rainbow. They
Flashback.
like watching LeVar Burton and Reading Rainbow. I get to sing the song. It brings me joy.
Oh, well,
But
that's great.
yeah,
You
we'll
I think
see.
that's that whole thing, like, if, for everyone watching, if you wanna get one super good thing out of this, especially with younger kids, is that routine is so important
Yeah.
because it gives you a routine too.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's the one key to my success is being organized somewhat, and that helps keep me on track. I think especially when you own your own business, you people say you don't have a boss. I mean, you do have a boss. You have it's yourself, but you have to know how to put yourself to work and to be timely with things.
Yeah. So
So
that's a good question that someone had was talking like if we could talk about efficiency, how it's
right,
changed since COVID, which you
right.
touched on a little bit earlier, and what's one thing you do to manage doing more?
So it's funny. I was just transitioning to that. So the whole calendar thing, that is really my key to efficiency, is
Mhm.
having my business calendar and when I do things. And I noticed at the beginning, even though I did have, a typical business calendar for myself before, it changed a little bit now. Like, for instance, I get all these online orders, right? So I have to mail them. And I like going to my old office and handing them to my old post office person because I don't
Right.
know. I like that human interaction a little bit. And I have none now. So, like, 10 minutes to drive down there and go, have a little chit chat. That's part of a gift to myself, go talk to Poppy at Office Edge, right? So, but at the beginning, especially when the mask thing hit, I was like, yikes. I was like going there almost every day, with like hella packages and just like, and I realized, like, you know what? You need to chill on that. You need to have more of your shipping days and you
Mm,
have to, and so, for instance, Monday is always like, I give myself a bunch of like non-fun, non-creative stuff to do to get to something creative at the end of the day. And the big one is like accounting,
mm,
billing,
mhm.
invoicing, creating the invoices. I hate that. So I kind of stack those up on my Monday, and then Mondays also fulfill all the orders that came over the weekend because I don't ship on the weekend. So any orders that come in Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I'll get those already. And then Tuesday is my shipping day. So
Mm,
so Tuesday is my first shipping day of the week. And then Wednesday, I'm probably doing like product shots, or I should be like organizing my calendar. That's kind of Tuesday, Wednesday, and then whatever orders come in, those 3 days pass. Then I go to the post office on Thursday usually,
Mm,
and that's to ensure that if I mail it on Thursday, some lucky customers that are nearby will get their thing on Friday, and then they go sport it on Saturday, right? Yeah. So
nice.
I try to be really like conscious that people want stuff quick. So you know, I could wait 2 weeks and then ship out a whole bunch of stuff, but it's harder on everyone. The post person,
Yeah, that's not good customer service.
not at all. Oh, yeah, that's a big one during this time. Your customer service.
Yeah,
Can I talk about that for 1 sec, real quick?
sure,
You
yeah.
got time? Just real quick, like these my poor friends, um, who own boutiques. They're doing all these like virtual shopping trips and curbside pickup. That's like a big one. So all my friends out there that have stores, they man, like that's another good one. You should like talk to a store owner or like wow, like for me, all my interaction with customers is online or you know it's easy, you know. But
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, how do you want
Oh,
to? Are we
yeah, I
almost
mean, we're kind of nearing the end of the hour, and
there?
yeah, if anyone tuning in right now has any questions for us, please drop them in the chat
Ooh,
right
yeah.
now. As we, and but if not, I mean, this would be a great time to do like some shout outs if you have any businesses. I mean, we're talking about retail stores. Um, if you want to share any, you mentioned Succession, ESO boutique, shout out ESO in the
Yeah.
Mission.
Yeah, those are my girls over at
Yes.
ISO San Francisco. They have definitely jumped on the mask business, and they donated so many masks. I see a lot of that too during this pandemic. There's a lot of community caring, a lot of building, a lot of like helping going on, and I'm not mad at that. I
Yeah.
feel like my business community is almost tighter because now I realize it's not just an order I'm dropping off. I'm dropping off a part of their survival as a business. Like how many stores have I seen close in the last, and these are my accounts, like my friends, I've seen my one friend close his store and then someone has to move away. And, so it's like, it's more important than just, making sure they pay my invoice, like I'm very conscious that people are struggling to survive out there. So that's another thing that's
And you're
definitely
just a really great human in general, Nate, and you always take care of folks. You really do.
going.
Yeah.
Who's chopping onions in here?
So we do
Well,
have a question. Self-care tips that we have. What does your self-care regimen look like?
okay. Lifting all these damn boxes in my garage. God, the other night someone ordered something and it was under like 10 boxes. I was like, this is my workout. Um, no, what? Well, we co-parent a dog. My in-laws have a dog, and we get the dog on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Uh-huh.
Love the dog, but there's no way I'm getting a dog for my kids. Forget that. But we take long walks, not necessarily hikes, but long walks on the weekends and all that stuff. And that's great. I get all my 10,000 steps in when we go. And then,
Yes.
yeah, so I do that. But you guys, man, you guys really work out. I mean,
Yeah, Art's been really into it. He bought like a punching bag during this pandemic. We bought like workout gear. We already had a treadmill, so like for me,
mhm,
um I a friend was like, download the Peloton app. I'm like, all right. So I did that, and I've been
mhm.
doing interval runs, which is really, I like that because they're like 20 or 30-minute runs, and it's like fast and then walk, fast and then walk. And that's
Wow.
good. I like doing that. And something else we've been doing, because right, date nights, like how do you do date nights now? What does that look like? So what we've done that I
Mhm.
think more people should be doing, because we can't go to a bar or a club, we bought colored light bulbs, and when the kids go to bed, we will put the light bulbs on, we turn the music up, and we're like dancing in the house, and it's
Oh my
honestly really fun.
oh my god.
So I recommend folks go
Okay.
do that. If
Oh
you,
my god. I think Margie would love that. I have a little disco ball I got from my
yeah.
parents.
Oh, your parents had the disco ball. Okay.
I was like, you you have a disco ball? They're like, yeah, let me go get it. I'm like thinking, why the heck? I'm not even gonna ask. They were like, oh yeah, yeah, we just had this because karaoke and all that. Like,
Oh, they're serious about their karaoke. They had a disco ball. You'd surprise Margie with that. Like
okay,
Margie date night.
okay. I'm sure she'll love that. Oh Lord, what else?
Oh,
This was
okay. Well,
great,
this
Paloma.
is so much.
This
I'm
was really
glad you enjoyed. You have a lot of great tips. I really wanted to have you on because you are a veteran, like you've been doing this for so long, and you do have older kids, and so you've kind of been through that fire. And yeah, so thank you for joining us
right.
on the first show of Homeschool Hustle.
Yay! It's my
Yay.
honor, and yeah, I gotta say thank you so much, and thank you for your friendship. And yeah, it's not every day you find someone that you could throw your business ideas at that are all crazy, and then you have someone kind of, I don't know, you really want to do it that way, or. So I appreciate you. So thank you.
Oh, thanks, Nate. And thank
Mm.
you to Ruby Mountain, who is behind
Yay!
the scenes here. She's been moderating the chat. She's also been helping us with the visual and the sound stuff for this live stream. So shout out Ruby Mountain. Um, who else did I want to thank? Thank you for all of you that have tuned in for this live session. Thank you so much for joining us. There is a newsletter. If you go to PapaLoDown.com, Homeschool Hustle, you can subscribe to that newsletter or to this YouTube channel and get more updates. Like I'm really feeling passionate about sharing more tips around this and having other parent entrepreneurs on this show. So look out for the next one. Nate, yes, what is your IG? So I think we put that, I'll put that in the show notes. Is that what everyone says?
Okay, sure, but
But yeah,
yeah,
shop
I,
school.
I have two Instagram accounts. My clothing accessory line is New School SF, NEWSKOOLSF, and so you could see all things New School, from T-shirts and new designs and all that stuff. And then my art and design website is Nate1 Design, NATE, the number one design, and that's where I post what's going on in my studio and what projects I'm working on, and the life of an artist.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we are going to go ahead and end this live stream now. Take care, everyone.